constitutional right to contest for the position of government. When Obasanjo said he wants to enter the culture, we can say that to all Nigerians can't be.
It's so good to know that you could find time to join us on this edition of Head to Head. My name is Victor Ayara. A short while ago, we had a guest who was talking about the Lekki Expressway and the concessioning efforts of the state government. Well, he raised a lot of issues, and those issues are what we want to clarify on this edition of the program. I have as guest in the studio with me, Opuiyo Oforiokuma. He's the MD CEO of Lekki Concession Company, the company handling that project, that road project. You're welcome to the studio. Tell us about concessioning. What is it all about? Okay. Because we in Nigeria, we're not really used to, you know, when we talk about concessioning, what do you really mean?
Okay. What a concession essentially is, it's a legal agreement that exists usually between a state organization. It could be the federal government, it could be a state government, it could be a local government, etc. And a private sector organization, usually to deal with infrastructure needs. So classic cases, for example, like in our case on the Lekki Expressway, we are designing, we're financing, we're building, we're operating over a concession term. The new Lekki Expressway as the first phase, and secondly the coastal road. Why do governments typically go down this route? Sometimes it's because of financial pressure, but that's not the only reason why. It's to ensure that essential infrastructure is available. Of course, having the financing brought by a third party is a very, very helpful thing for government. But also there's the discipline that ordinarily you'd expect to have in the private sector, because we tend to do this more than, say, government does. It could be because there's a need for technology that we have, but that government doesn't have. It could be around the technical skills, etc. What I will say is that in our particular case, all of those things apply. Our concession also happens to be the first ever toll road concession, PPP, public-private partnership concession in Nigeria. We're not the only ones, because recently the federal government of Nigeria announced that it had concessioned the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to also a private party. So you'll find that concessioning and public-private partnerships is right now the chosen way that many governments all over the world, and not just Nigeria.
Okay, is it the reason why you sold the idea to the Lagos state government? Did you sell the idea? That's how I should put it.
Okay.
Did you sell the idea to Lagos state government?
No, that's not correct. And I think that question, and in fact you talked about issues raised in your previous program. And yes, we watched that program and we saw and we heard a lot of the things that were said which were patently untrue or misinformed. Listen, that question doesn't give credit to the sterling efforts of Lagos state government. When you look at this particular project, it dates back to the year 2000. In fact, under the previous executive governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in 2000, Lagos State government invited expressions of interest from private sector parties to come and consider engaging, if you like, in a PPP arrangement with the state for this development. One of our shareholders, our primary sponsor, ARM, was one of those people that submitted, and eventually they were the ones that were selected to enter into an MOU. And it is through that MOU, studying the various options, that ultimately LCC was born. So that statement that LCC somehow went and persuaded government is wholly untrue.
When you are going into a concessioning effort, do you not carry stakeholders along? What is the level of engagement or consultation that your company did before starting this project?
Sure.
Because that is one of the issues as well that we said, okay, we have to clarify. Did you consult with the people of Etiosa and, you know, Ibeji-Lekki, especially where this concession is concerned?
Sure. In fact, let me take it a step further, Victor. It's not just a question of consultation before. The consultation is continuous, before, during, all the way through to the end. I mean, that's the way that will work. Now, actually, this process, just to show you that it's a long-tail process, like I said, it started back in 2000. I wasn't even around here at that time. I mean, I've been running LCC now for about 3 years. There was consultation. In fact, there were various town hall meetings that were organized. The state took part in it. Various obas and white cap chiefs and other people took part in it. all of this before the concession agreement was signed. And actually, since the concession agreement was signed, we continue to engage with the people. You mentioned about Etiosa. Look, this year alone, we have had 2 special town hall sessions with the people of Etiosa.
So why are they now not supporting this idea? Why are they fighting you, so to speak? Why are they protesting?
Well, you know, we're still trying to fully understand, you know, what the motivations are. We're still trying to fully understand sometimes the concerns that are being expressed, because we find that they're not always very consistent, and sometimes they are contradictory. But look, there's a harsh reality in change. You know, change can sometimes invoke fear. Change can sometimes invoke trepidation. And you know something, not everybody is going to support change. What, however, we always request, whilst we understand that not everybody has to agree with us, is that we're given a reasonable opportunity to put the facts before people, so that it is from the basis of truth that people can either continue to resist, or they will then see that maybe what they are being told is not quite right. We believe that there's a lot of misinformation being put out. I regret to say deliberately so. Why do I say that? Because a lot of the things that I heard on that program are questions that we have answered directly to the people of Etiosa. Like I mentioned to you, there have been a number of sessions. We have answered it publicly.
Now, what will make these people believe, or even think, or even use the word that you are conniving with the government? Especially when they don't really see, according to them, what is their role in all this. They're asking over and over.
Okay, look, there are various statements, questions in what you said, but let me deal with the issue of connivance. Perhaps that is, on the one hand, born out of, again, a misunderstanding. Your first question to me today was about what is a concession, and I explained the concession, especially in the context of it being a form of public-private partnership. Now, that word partnership is extremely important. Now, in this particular concession, the public party is Lagos State Government, and of course the private sector party is Lekki Concession Company. If working together hand in hand as good partners should do is called connivance, frankly speaking, we're struggling to understand it. But let me even go further on this point, Victor, because as I recall, when I saw that program, the person you were interviewing at the time actually made a statement that the governor of Lagos State himself had categorically stated, you know, what the position was. So, for example, Lagos State is the one that requisitions lands, provides that, you know, as the case may be, and people are concerned about buildings being demolished. Lagos State does that. The governor himself said that. Now, the governor of Lagos State, apart from being a distinguished senior advocate of Nigeria, so a very, you know, high-level advocate in the legal profession, is, as governor of Lagos State, I can only speak certainly from our own experience working with him and other members of Lagos State, is a man of high integrity. We found that he's a man that when he makes comments, it's because he genuinely believes them. He says what he wants to do, and he works for that. So if such a person has actually come out publicly, now he's the chief executive of the state, and said this is the case, sincerely, I don't quite understand where this talk of connivance comes from. We're partners, we're working as good partners should do, and that is what makes a PPP succeed.
All right, or you are going to build a road, or expand the road, as it were, and then you are going to handle that road and collect money. Why 3 toll gates? There is from the point from Falomore Bridge end to Ajah or so. Why 3 toll gates?
Okay, let me first of all say that it's not from the point of the Falomore Bridge end. Let me first of all deal with the specifics of where the locations will be, and then I'll explain to you why we're having those tolls. But I also want to talk about the Falomore Bridge end too. But the first toll plaza is just before the first roundabout, more or less where you have the Amiru Estate and the new Oriental Hotel. The second one is between Chevron Roundabout and Elegance Estate, or will be when it is constructed. And the third one is more or less around where the Lasu Lekki campus is. But let me come back to this issue about the Falomore end, as you mentioned. What you should notice is that we've already constructed a couple of kilometers of the road at the Falomore end. And there's nobody charging any tolls. And frankly speaking, unless you drive through the toll plazas or any one of those